started streaming yet. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. Alright, we are going. Hello and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred today in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing for us to bring for you. The source of this information comes from the smart device application Today in History, What Happened Today in History, and the website onthisday.com. For links to the sources, the music, anything else potentially interesting that we find throughout the show, check the box below. I am once again your host, Xander. We may have Lunk come in, aka Sohan later on, or Muffin, or maybe Alice, we'll see. I don't know where everybody went. I did not want to repeat yesterday and have a late show, so I started alone today. So anyway, on with the show, shall we? Today is Saturn's Day, aka Saturday, January 29th, 2022. We are starting off at the year 904 when Sergius III was elected the Pope after having come out of retirement to take over the papacy from the deposed anti-Pope Christopher. Moving on up about 42 years, in the year 946, Caliph al-Mustaqfi was blinded and deposed by Emir Mu'izz al-Dawa, ruler of the Buyid Empire. He was succeeded by al-Muti as Caliph of the Abbasid Caliphate. That's a little rude. They didn't need to blind him and depose him at the same time, adding insult to injury, literally, Moving on up to 1258, first Mongol invasion of Daya Viet. Daya Viet defeated the Mongols at the Battle of Dong Bo Dao, forcing the Mongols to withdraw from the country. So much for that invasion. Going from 1258 to 1845, that's a heck of a jump. The Raven was published in the Evening Mirror in New York, becoming the first publication with the name of the author, Edgar Allan Poe. 5 years later, Henry Clay introduced the Compromise of 1850 to the U.S. Congress. Now, what is that? Let's look that up real quick. Compromise of 1850. It was a package of 5 separate bills passed by the United States Congress in September of 1850 that diffused a political confrontation between slave and free states on the status of territories acquired into the Mexican-American War. So interesting. I'm going to put a link to this in the underbar for y'all. There we go. Let's see here, moving on up to 1856, Queen Victoria issued a warrant under the Royal Sign Manual that established the Victoria Cross to recognize acts of valor by British military personnel during the Crimean War. So that's where the Victoria Cross came from. Nice. In 1861, Kansas was admitted as the 34th U.S. state. So, this was, as I've spoken about multiple times on the show before, during this, leading up to the actual Civil War, a lot of the politics, they, like, on either side, they're both guilty of doing this. One confirms a state to get an upper hand, in the Senate, so then to battle that, to even it out, then the other confirms a state, and then they do it, and then so Kansas, 1861, I believe either during or shortly before the Civil War, I think just months before actually. Let's look that up. U.S. Civil War. April 12th, 1861. So yeah, January, February, March, April. So just 3 months, give or take, away from the actual conflict starting. Dang, they became a state. But 2 years after that, in 1863, the Bear River Massacre occurred, in which a detachment of California volunteers, led by Colonel Patrick Edward Connor, engaged the Shoshone at Bear River, Washington Territory, murdering hundreds of men, women, and children. Californians, man. What can you do? Don't let them into your state, I mean, I'm one of them, and I'm trying to get the hell out of here, but I don't blame you if you don't let me in there. Moving on up to 1886, just 3 years later, Carl Benz patented the first successful gasoline-driven automobile. Cool. In 1891, Liliuokalani was proclaimed the last monarch and only queen regnant of the Kingdom of Hawaii. Nice. Unfortunately, she was the last one, but at least she was the first queen, huh? 1 year after that, the Coca-Cola Company was incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. And then 3 years later, 1895, King Coco's Copper Manen assault on Akassa, Niger, resulted with hundreds killed. Oh man, a lot of brutal stuff happening every single day throughout history, guys. 365 days after that, in 1896, Emil Grubb became the first doctor to use radiation treatment for breast cancer. And I think that's a precursor to chemotherapy, which my mom had until she unfortunately passed back in 2015. But she fought like an army of one, more like a legion of one, beyond an army, or whatever. I don't know. Moving on up to 1900, Boers under Joubert defeated British at Spion Kop Natal, resulting in 2,000 killed in action. Man. Also in 1900, the American League was organized in Buffalo, Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, Indianapolis, Kansas City, Milwaukee, and Minneapolis. So that's 8. Dang. What is the American League, anyway? Let's look this up real quick. The American League. It is a professional baseball clubs, or it's a league of professional, blah, blah. The American League of Professional Baseball Clubs, simply known as the American League, is one of 2 leagues that make up Major League Baseball in the United States and Canada. It developed from the Western League, a minor league based on the Great Lakes states, which eventually aspired to Major League status. So, cool. Happy birthday, American League. 3 years after that, in 1903, Dutch railroad workers went on strike. I wonder why. 1903. There we go. That was 18. No. Well, I guess. Okay, here we go. The railroad strikes of 1903 were strikes in the Netherlands of the railway staff regarding the right of workers to organize into a union and negotiate and implement the right to strike. So they striked to get the right to strike, it sounds like. It's interesting. I'll go ahead and put this in the underbar for anyone interested. Moving on up to 1905, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, unsettled by the rising violence and protests, enacted reforms to improve the conditions of workers. These changes would do little to stop disorder throughout Russia in the ensuing months. That's rather unfortunate. But then 1 year after that, in 1906, Cohen D. King skated a world record of 32,370 meters in 1 hour, which... let's see how much that is in whatever, feet, miles, I don't know. Let's see here. It is, 20 miles, a little bit more than 20 miles. So he skated 20 miles in 1 hour. Jeez. That is fast. Actually, can we do the math on that? 20 miles in 1 hour. Well, he was going 20 miles an hour. Okay. That was easy. I didn't have to do calculations. Go figure. Moving on up to 1907, Charles Curtis of Kansas became the first Native American U.S. Senator, specifically for Kansas. So, cool. In 1908, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity at Cornell University, was incorporated. And then 3 years later, in 1911, during the Mexican Revolution, Mexicali was captured by the Mexican Liberal Party, igniting the Magonista Rebellion of 1911. 1 year later, in 1912, martial law was declared due to a textile strike in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Martial law in Massachusetts? What? Let me look that up real quick. That's astounding. Oh yeah, here we go, 1912 strike. So anybody wants to look more into this, yeah, this led to martial law. So yeah, if you ever think your government would never do anything to stop you if you think you're right, think again. Moving on up to wait a minute. Wait. Okay. 1930. Wait, what? Alpha Kappa Alpha. Okay. Sorority at Howard University was incorporated. Sorry about that. I thought I posted the same thing twice, but it was two different fraternities, 5 years apart. In 1916, the first bombing of Paris by German Zeppelins took place. So yeah, that's right. They were during the First World War. They used airships to drop bombs. Moving on up to 1917, British submarine K-13 sank in Gair Loch, Scotland. 32 of her crew perished, unfortunately. Only on page 4 out of 25? What? Like, all of today's history is in the 1900s. Good lord. Moving on up to 1918, Ukrainian-Soviet War. The Bolshevik Red Army, on its way to besiege Kiev, not to be confused with Kiev, was met by a small group of military students at the Battle of Krutty. And I say that because also in 1918, during the same conflict, the Ukrainian-Soviet War, an armed uprising organized by the Bolsheviks in anticipation of the encroaching Red Army began at the Kiev arsenal, which would be put down 6 days later. Those two sounds like the same thing. They're from two different sources. Actually, no, they're both from the same source. So, two different things. There's Kiev and Kiev. So, moving on up 2 years later, in 1920, Walt Disney started work as an artist with KC Slide Company for $40 a week. Let's see if anybody is actually watching the show. Kiev Arsenal. Well, there is now me. Moving on up to 1921, a hurricane hit Washington and Oregon, which is in the Pacific Northwest, not to be confused with Washington, D.C. on the East Coast. 365 days later, in 1922, the Union of Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador dissolved, unfortunately. But those are all Central and South American states, I believe. Somewhere in there, and I believe, because they've gone through several different unions, so I think it just dissolved because they had a greater union. Moving on to 1923, the first flight of Autogyro Juan de la Sierra in Madrid, Spain. Muffin, welcome. And he muted himself. How nice. Moving on up to 1924, an ice cream cone rolling machine was patented by Carl Taylor in Cleveland. So yeah, a machine that automatically rolls ice cream cones and such for manufacturing. Hey, there you are.
Hey.
Yo, dude.
What's up?
Many things. How are you?
Good.
We are live. I'm already at 1925.
1925.
Yeah, I've been going since 5 o'clock straight, so about 14 minutes. I'm 5 pages in out of 25, and I'm already in 1920s. So there's like so much history that happened in the past 100 years. Oh my god.
A lot.
Well, I'm only at 5 out of 25. There's 20 more pages, dude. So.
Yeah. I can read 1925 for you.
Alright.
So the British Library Party chose David Lloyd George as the leader.
Yeah, Liberal Party.
Liberal. God.
I'm just like, Library Party? You're not supposed to have a party in the library. Library. Moving on up to 1927, fourth German government of Marx formed.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's hopscotch here, so you take the next one.
Sure. So, in 1929, 2 years later, the Seeing Eye Guide Dog Organization formed in the United States of America.
Yep. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on up to 1936, the first inductees into the Baseball Hall of Fame were announced. And, let's see if I can look those up real quick. We have time to kill. I can look things up. We can be chill. They were Ty Cobb, Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson, Honus Wagner, and of course, Babe Ruth, the great Bambino. Where's Alice? When you need her?
All right.
Yeah. Why don't you take 1940 here?
Sure. So in 1940, 4 years later, 3 trains on the Nationary Lane. Probably butcher the hell of that again. Present day. Oh my goodness gracious. Sakajima, whatever. Lane and Okash. Jesus freaking Christ. O- Osaka, Japan collided and exploded while approaching. Oh Lord. Just laughing. Okaji. I can't pronounce it. Whatever station. 181 souls met Jesus.
God.
Met God.
They
Yeah.
not necessarily Jesus. They might not have been Christians. Actually, I'm not sure if there were Christian Japanese back then. I don't know. May have been.
Yeah.
Moving on up to 1941, Alexandros Korzias became Prime Minister of Greece after the sudden death of his predecessor, dictator Ioannis Metaxas.
Interesting. So, a year later, the first broadcast of Roy Plomley's. Oh my God! Here we go again. Desert Island Discs on BBC Radio. Jesus.
Cool. Also in 1940, Roy Plomley.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Also in 1942, German and Italian troops occupied Benghazi, Libya.
Huh.
Yep.
Also, the last 1942 here is Peru and Ecuador signed a protocol of Royal. Freaking Christ! I know the damn word already. Roy, boundary determination. Rio. God.
Protocol of
Even
Rio.
the most simplest word sometimes just gets the.
You know, like I have a theory. Maybe you're so smart that the obvious stuff just is just beneath you to a point where you can't even recognize it anymore.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, just like that one episode of Regular Show where they started talking in Latin and everything. Moving on up to 1943, New Zealand cruiser Kiwi collided with Japanese submarine I-1 at Guadalcanal. That doesn't sound good.
Cruiser and a submarine collided. That's kind of interesting to hear, but
yeah, I mean they're supposed to kill each other, but not that way, you know.
Hey man, there's ways, I guess.
Yeah.
Right, same year, 1943, Sydney Kingslay's Patriots premiered in New York City.
Nice.
Kingslay's, yeah.
Also in 1943, the U.S. cruiser Chicago CA-29 was heavily damaged by Japanese bombers on the first day of the Battle of Rennell Island.
And finally, a year later, in 1944, 285 German bombers attacked London.
That's a lot of bombers.
Yeah, almost 300.
About 15 less. You are correct.
Yeah.
Also in 1944, USS Missouri, the last battleship commissioned by the U.S. Navy, was launched. Dang. The last battleship.
Oh, interesting. Also in 1944, World War II, the Battle of Kyteria, whatever, took place in central Italy.
Cisterna.
Cyternia, whatever.
Cisterna.
Cysteria.
Cistern. Also in 1944, in Bologna, Italy, the anatomical theater of the Archignacio was completely destroyed by an air raid during the Second World War. Yeah, so many historical buildings and such got destroyed. Like I've spoken about this before, nobody has any clue how lucky we are to still have,
The
the
ones that
Eiffel Tower, the Notre Dame,
yeah,
the Arc de Triomphe, all these places, easily could have been destroyed during both of the conflicts. Don't forget about the Paris gun during World War One, where they got shelled from 40 miles away or something crazy. You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to do one more. I have to head off. I have to actually go somewhere. So
All right. Why don't you take this last 44 then?
sounds good. So in World War II, about 38 men, women, and children died, and another dozen injured in Kanuchi, Kanuchi, or something like that. Massacre in Poland, present day. Oh my gosh, Kan
Kaniukai.
Kuniuke, Lithuania. Gosh, I know this country too. Lithuania. I know. I hate myself right now. Lithuania. Oh, God, I know the Lithuania. Thank you.
Lithuania.
By Soviet partisans units.
Nice. Well, thank you for dropping by, man.
No problem.
Too bad you can't stay longer. We're only on page
I know.
7 now. So,
Sorry I can't
anyway,
stay here longer. I'll definitely help you.
yeah. But you have a good one, man. I'll keep
You
on keeping
too.
on. I don't know where Sohan is. Um,
Yeah, I don't know where he's at too. It's kind of interesting.
yeah.
Anyways,
Yep. Have a good one. Be safe. Moving on up to 1948, Look Ma, I'm Dancing opened at Adelphi Theater in New York City for 188 performances. Moving on up to 1955, John Williams Cox bought Yankee Stadium, then sold the grounds to Knights of Columbus, whom then later left the structure to Rice University in 1962. So within 7 years, it changed hands 3 times. That's not a good sign. Moving on up 365 days in the year 1956, Frederick Dürermatt Der Busch der Alten Dame premiered in Zurich. 1 year later, in 1957, Graham Greene's Potting Shed premiered in New York City. Then we move to 1958. Murderer Charles Starkweather was captured by police in Wyoming. Nice. We have 1959. Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty was released. That was a really good movie. I think that was the first full-length, feature-length animated movie. Hold on. First feature animated movie was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, not Sleeping Beauty, so my bad. But close. But also in 1959, smog pollution with readings higher than the 1952 Great Smog of London hit London, with many suffering chest and lung-related illnesses. You gotta filtrate your air, guys. Filtrate that air. Also in 59, the first Melodifestivalen was held in Circus, Stockholm, Sweden. Now what the heck is that? It is an annual song competition organized by Swedish public broadcasters, Sveriges Television and Sveriges Radio. It determines the country's representative for the Eurovision Song Contest and has been staged almost every year since 1959. Nice. So anybody wants to look more into that, I will have that in the underbar for you. That is the wrong folder. There we go. And we can just get rid of that. Alright. Moving on up to 1963, the first inductees into the Pro Football Hall of Fame were announced. Which, let's see here. First inductees in the Pro Football Fame of Hall. They were Red Grange, Don Hudson, Dutch Clark, Bronco Nagurski, Mel Hine, Pete Henry, Cal Hubbard, Sammy Bow, Johnny McNally, Ernie Nevers, and Jim Thorpe. Cool. A lot of people inducted. Moving on up to 1964, the 9th Winter Olympic Games opened in Innsbruck, Austria. Also that same day, that same year, in 1964, the Beatles recorded in German Komm gib mir den Hand and Sei lieb dich, which I think the first one is I want to hold your hand, but I don't know what the other one is. Let's Let's look that up. Oh, She Loves You. Alright. Let's see if I was right about this first one. Yep, I was. Alright. I'm not really much of a Beatles fan, but I'm learning things. Also in 1964, the most lopsided high school basketball score occurred with 211 to 29 in Louisiana. Dang, that's not a tea bagging, that's a potato sacking. Also in 1964, the NBC purchased AFL 5-year from 1965 to 1969 TV rights for $36 million, which is a lot of money. Last but not least, in 1964, Dr. Strangelove, directed by Stanley Kubrick and starring Peter Sellers and George C. Scott, premiered. I have got to watch that, especially now that I know that good old Mr. George Scott is in there. He's a great actor. Did amazing work in Patton and A Muppet's Christmas Carol. Moving on up to 1966, Neil Simons' Coleman and Fields musical Sweet Charity premiered at Palace Theater in New York City, lasting for 608 performances. Also, 1966, a snowstorm in northeast U.S. killed 165 people. 365 days later, 1967, Let's Sing Yiddish closed at Brooks Atkinson, New York City after 107 performances. Also in 67, WDAZ TV Channel 8 in Devil's Lake, ND, North Dakota, NBC began broadcasting. Also in 1967, the Arusha Declaration written by Tanzanian President Julius Nyerere was issued, clarifying Tanzania's path towards Ujamaa, which is African socialism. Moving on up to 1968, Nauru, formerly Pleasant Island, adopted a constitution. Then we have in 1969, Jimi Hendrix and Pete Townshend waged a battle of guitars. Also in 69, Sheehan and Connolly hang on for exciting draw Australia versus West Indies. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds sports related. Then we move up into the 1970s, in which the USSR performed nuclear tests at Eastern Kazakh/Semipalatinsk in USSR. 1 year after that, 1971, the test debut of Dennis Keith Lilly versus England at Adelaide. More sports things, I believe. Then we move into 1972, the 5th ABA All-Star Game. East 142 beats West at 115 at Louisville, Kentucky. We have in 1974, the 27th NHL All-Star Game, Chicago Stadium. Western Division beat Eastern Division 6-4, with the most valuable player being Gary Unger. In St. Louis, he was the center. Also in 74, Kuwait announced 60% of government participation in BP Gulf concession, which I believe that's British Petroleum, so there must have been some kind of oil spill or something. But then the year after that, in 1975, Men on the Moon opened at Little Theater in New York City for only 5 performances. That's unfortunate. But hey, at least they got to try to make it for the big time. Also in 75, the first American Annual Comedy Awards was hosted by Alan King. Nice. Moving on up to 76, the Zeiss Planetarium in Hague was destroyed by fire, as well as bombs set off in London's West End by the IRA, causing 1 person to be injured. 2 years later, in 1978, Sweden outlawed aerosol sprays due to their harmful effect on the ozone layer, becoming the first nation to enact such a ban. And now, let's see here. Aerosol spray ban. Let's see what other countries are doing that. Aerosol spray ban. Countries. Sweden. Well, what countries ban aerosol spray? Well, looks like it's only Sweden. Moving on up to 1979, Brenda Spencer murdered 2 people, inspiring Boomtown Rats' I Don't Like Mondays. Well, she must have really not liked Mondays. Also in 1979, Chinese Vice Premier Deng Xiaoping visited Washington, D.C., as well as U.S. President Jimmy Carter commuted Patricia Hearst's 7-year sentence to only 2 years. So she got a lucky break right there. Moving on up to 1980, 6 Iranian-held U.S. hostages escaped with the help of Canadians. I wonder if this has to do with a Canadian keeper again, or what? A Canadian keeper? What year was that? Well, it was 79, so it might be something to do with that. Also in 1980, the Cleveland Cavaliers beat LA Lakers 154-153 in quadruple overtime. Quadruple overtime. Wow. I'm going to have to ask my dad about that, because he was a Lakers fan up until, he couldn't watch them anymore because of our television packages and everything, and he wasn't willing to spend multiple hundreds of dollars just to watch Lakers. So, oh well, their greed lost themselves a fan. Also in 1980, the Rubik's Cube made its international debut at the Ideal Toy Core in Earl's Court, London. Nice. Moving on up to 1981, AL approved the sale of the White Sox to Jerry Reisendorf and Eddie Einhorn for $20 million and 80% of Mariners to George Arigos for $104 million. Dang, a lot of money being moved around. 365 days later in 1982, Old Dominion and Louisiana Tech's women basketball record 54... ended. So Old Dominion ended Louisiana Tech's women's basketball record 54-game winning streak. That's unfortunate. But you can't win them all, and 54 is pretty good. Also in 82, Wayne Garland, baseball's first millionaire free agent, waived by Indians. I don't know what that means, but in 1983, Down Under by Men at Work hit #1 on UK Pop Chart, mate. It's a good song. I reckon you gotta listen to it. After the show, of course. Also in 1983, Singapore cable car crash. Panamanian registered oil rig Eniwetok struck the cables of the Singapore cable car system, which linked the mainland and Sentosa Island, causing 2 cabins to fall into the water, causing 7 deaths and 13 others trapped for hours. That's gotta suck. Man. Also in 1984, moving on up to 1984, President Reagan formally announced he would seek a second term. 1 year later, in 1985, Jerry Curie of Edmonton Oilers scored 100th point of season in Game 39. Oilers scores 100th point of season game in 39. What? Well, I guess that was weird. So, 1985, Jerry Curie of Edmonton Oilers scored 100th point of season in Game 39. Okay. I don't know what happened there. There's a copy-paste malfunction. Also in 1985, Oxford University refused to award Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher an honorary degree. 2 years later, in 1987, William J. Casey's term as 13th Director of CIA ended, as well as the President of the Philippines put down a rebellion against their government in Manila. Those two are 2 different events, but happened at the same time. So just in case, because I normally say the year right before. Like this time in 1988, Canadian Ben Johnson broke own 50-yard dash world record at 5.15. What is that, seconds? I have to say so. Also in 88, Detroit's Kirk Gibson signed a 3-year contract with the Dodgers, as well as United Airlines Boeing 747 SP circled the world in 36 hours, 54 minutes, and 15 seconds. So, quick circumnavigation. Pretty cool. And then the last 88, Detroit Pistons drew a then record of NBA regular season crowd of 61,983 fans to the Potomac Silverdome for a 125-108 win over the Boston Celtics. Finally, moving on up to 1989, Cleveland's Chris Dudley missed 5 free throws during one foul attempt. Dang. Shaq, you got some competition there, buddy. Also in 89, Dow jumped 38.06, recoups 508-point loss since October 1987, index at 2,256.43 points. Welcome, Lunk. How you doing? While Lunk is getting himself situated, I will continue. We also have in 1989 the Episcopal Church of the United States appointed Barbara Harris as its first female bishop. Nice.
Yeah, that's nice. The Episcopal.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry I'm late. I'm ready. I'm gonna do a lot of them.
All right. Why don't you finish up? Why don't you finish up 89 for me?
Yes. Yeah. Let me get the script ready.
Yeah, Muffins
89.
was on a little bit earlier. Sorry I didn't wait for you, man. I didn't want a repeat of yesterday, so I just went for it.
I know. The show goes on, no matter what.
Well, it doesn't without me. So.
You're talking about the, in
1989.
In 1989.
Yep.
Preacher Gene Profeta pleads guilty to tax evasion. Damn.
Good.
Yeah, they need to. That's one thing they need to do. Tax the fucking preachers.
Tax the churches, dude.
Religions.
You know.
Yeah, because man, look at people like Jesse Duplantis. He's got a fucking jet, a private jet.
Look at the Vatican.
Don't need one.
Look at the Vatican.
Exactly.
Nothing screams hypocrisy louder than the Pope on a golden throne in a golden room, surrounded by golden everything, and then telling people to live within their means. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah, that's like false idol type shit.
Yeah.
That's what God fucking. That's what the Bible. No, that's what the commandments warns us about.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and also in 1989, NFL Pro Bowl, Aloha Stadium, Honolulu, Hawaii. NFC beats AFC West 34-3. Damn. MVP, Randall Cunningham, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback. Wow, man, he only had a field goal.
Yeah.
At least he didn't get shut out.
Well, I've already reported on the lopsided game, the 200 something to 25.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Man, turn in your fucking resignation.
Yeah, quit now. Delete the game, uninstall, find somewhere else to go.
If smoke, develop some type of addiction.
Yeah.
Also, in 1989, Orlando Arena opens in Orlando, Florida.
Nice.
Yeah. Also in 1989, USSR Phobios 2 enters Martian orbit. So they went to Mars before us too?
I believe so. Because they also hold on a second. First lunar orbiter.
No.
Okay, first lunar orbiter. Ever. Okay, well, it's saying lunar orbiter 1 right now. Or wait, no, Mars. First Mars orbiter.
Yeah, Mars. Yeah, first Mars orbiter.
Well, it's saying here, first Mars orbiter, USSR. The Mars program was the Soviet Union in 1960 and 1973. Meanwhile, Mariner 9 was 1971. And became the first artificial satellite of Mars when it arrived and went into orbit. Okay, so we were the first one to have a Mars orbiter, but I believe Russia was the first one to have a lunar rover.
Yep.
Orbiter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moon first.
What else happened in 1989?
Also in 1989, the Fifth Sundance Film Festival. True Love wins Grand Jury Prize for Dramatic.
Nice.
Damn. And there we go to 1990.
Nope, there's one more in '89.
Oh, okay. Wait, for real? Where?
Cold War.
Oh, okay.
Is it not on yours?
No,
Hold on, let me double check.
because at the top,
Did I screw
uh,
up?
or did, did I skip?
1989. No, it's here. There's the fifth Sundance Festival that you just said, and then right under it. Do you see it?
No, all I see is Exxon Valdez, Captain.
Well, that's weird. Well, I'll read this one then.
Okay.
In 1989, last but not least for this year, Cold War, Hungary established diplomatic relations with South Korea, making it the first Eastern Bloc nation to do so. And by the way, that has to be a record. That was 9 articles for the same year.
Damn.
Yeah.
Everything happens in '89.
Yeah. I was 2
Even
years
me.
old.
Even me being 1 year old.
Yeah. Moving on up, finally, we're getting out of '89. We're moving up into '90. Exxon Valdez Captain Joseph Hazelwood went on trial due to oil spill.
Yes. Yep. He was drunk. The ship. He wrecked the ship. The oil came out. They tried doing a bunch of shit to cover it, but they couldn't.
Hmm.
Yeah, fun fact. Jim Carrey mocks it on a Living Color.
Huh.
Yep.
What happened in '91?
In 1991, Piano Lesson closes at Walter Kerr Theater, New York City after 320 performances.
Nice. That's a good run.
Yep,
Why don't you take the other '91s?
I will. Also in 1991, Nelson Mandela and Mango Shrutu Bohelzi meet after 28 years.
It's a long time.
Probably after he probably got out of prison.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. The part that got dismantled in what, 90 or 91?
Yep, in the 90s.
You have another 91 here.
The 1991 Battle of Karachi begins in the first major ground engagement of the Gulf War.
There's two more. There's a little bit more to that.
Yep. Wait, for real? Oh wait, oh shit, I'm looking in oh my god, I'm not even in script, I'm in research.
Oh, that explains it.
Fumble. Dude, that's a fumble.
You're not even in script. You're in research.
1991, okay. Also, as well as the deadliest between Saudi Arabia and Iraq.
Yeah.
Um,
Moving on up to 1993, the U.S. Postal Service issued a stamp commemorating chemist Percy Lavon Julian. Cool.
Ooh. Also, 1 year later, 1994, Frankie Randall beat Mexican boxing legend Julio Cesar Chavez by split decision to win the WBC Super Lightweight title at MGM Grand Las Vegas. Chavez first knockout of career in 11-2, first loss in 91 pro fight. Wow.
Nice.
God damn. I won't do this one.
Okay.
2 years later, 1996, 6,138th performance of Cats is held in London, surpassing record of Broadway longest running musical, A Chorus Line. God damn.
Nice.
How many fucking times can you see Cats?
I don't know. If you're a female in your late 40s who's never been married, a lot. So,
Oh, a bunch of furries. Who knows?
that too. Dude, that movie, the Cats movie, that was just god awful. That was just awful. I haven't seen it, but I've seen pictures and horrifying.
I've never seen anything related to cats.
Oh, dude, hold on. I gotta look something up for you. Then
Oh, please, no. What have I done?
I'm gonna ruin things for you. Let's see here.
Yo,
Yeah,
what the fuck?
this is. Are you watching my stream?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you
This
are.
is
So
this is what furries want.
I know, and like it's the whole thing is a giant long musical, and because they're cats, they always do like weird sexual things. So yeah, it's
Is that penguin?
no, it's a
That
fat
looks like
cat.
penguin. That looks like penguin. I'm sorry, that's not a fat cat. That is penguin.
It does look
It's
like
fucked up.
penguin. He even has like the tails on his jacket,
Coat, coattails.
coattails. That too. Moving.
Actually, depends. It depends on which universe.
Hmm.
Uh, is okay. There's a comic universe and there's the Arkham universe. The Arkham universe, he doesn't. That's not a monocle. That is a fucking beer bottle.
A beer bottle.
Yep. Someone couldn't repay his debt, so he tried stabbing him with a beer bottle.
Oh snap!
It's yeah. It's yeah. He gouged his eyes out and pushed him in traffic, but that's what Penguin did to the guy.
That's
But
violent.
the thing's in there to the point if he moves it, it will cut an artery and kill him.
Oh, so is that why you're talking about the cartoon, like the monocle that's like in his eye?
No, the Arkham games.
Oh,
Yeah, the Arkham games. That's not a monocle. That is a
oh, it's a beer bottle.
Yep, that is a beer bottle. That is not.
Oh, yes, it is.
That is not a monocle
Jesus, but how is his eye still functioning like that?
because it's the way it's placed. It's for certain some weird ass way.
That's frightening, dude. But anyway, let's get back on track here. Also in 1996, La Venice, Venice's opera house, was destroyed by fire. That's not
Damn.
fun.
I know. Venice, them Italians.
Well, you would.
Also, 1996, France would no longer test nuclear weapons. Its President Jacques Chirac said following international outcry over tests in the Pacific.
Yep. So that's the end of France nuclear testing, which, they don't really need to do. We know,
Yeah.
we know splitting an atom makes a big boom. Why do we need to do it 1,000 more times?
Because they want to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Ain't nothing bigger than a star bomb.
Ah. Well, at that point, it might actually start like burning off the atmosphere and shit. Because that's why they scaled the Sarbama down from 100 megatons to 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, that's why they're switching to something like kinetic bombardment.
Well, yeah, dropping tungsten rods from low Earth orbit using terminal velocity as a propellant.
Hey, fun fact. Two types of things use that as a weapon. Call of Duty Ghost and G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Yeah, I know. Like, there's Project Odin, Project Thor, and Project Mjolnir. I know one of those three is an actual real-world name, and the other two are for those other two examples that you listed off. So, but they're all revolved around one of them. So, moving on up to 1998, Cape Man opened at Marquis Theater in New York City.
Ding 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 ding. Cape Man.
Cape Man.
Cape Man. Batman. You got the Batman at home.
Batman.
At home.
Oh, have you seen that? Have you seen that spoof of like the original Batman intro, but all they say is "man"?
No.
Oh, remind me to show you that when I get back after the show, because I gotta go pick up some stuff.
Okay.
But what else happened in 1998?
Also in 1998, singer Bobby Brown was found guilty of DUI in part Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yep, he was driving
Yep.
drunk.
Yep. Like a punk. Don't drive drunk like a punk. It ain't
That
crunk.
was his prerogative.
You might end up in a trunk. Also, 1998, Soyuz TM-27 launched to Mir, which is their space station. One of them.
Oh, the Mir space station.
Yeah. Yeah, Soyuz
Cool.
capsule TM-27. Also in 1998, a thick fog caused highway carnage in Belgium and Netherlands, causing the deaths of 6 people. Oh, be careful out there driving in that fog. You still there,
Yeah,
Summer? Oh,
man.
there you are. You want to
Yes.
take the last
Also,
98 here?
yeah. Also in 1998, a woman's clinic in Birmingham, Alabama was bombed, causing one casualty. That's
Dang.
I know.
Moving on up to the next millennium, in the year 2001, thousands of student protesters in Indonesia stormed parliament and demanded that President Abdurrahman Wahid resign due to alleged involvement in corruption scandals. Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Or political corruption.
Also in 2002, U.S. President George W. Bush, in his State of the Union address, described the regimes that sponsor terror and axis of evil, which include Iraq, Iran, and North Korea.
Mm-hmm. Which also at the time didn't have centralized banks owned and controlled by the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers or any of that group, the Bilderbergs, the
North Korea
Red
still don't.
Shields. Yeah, yeah. If you look into what states didn't have, these said centralized banks owned by these rich corporate elitists, oligarchs. You'll notice a lot of the countries in the past 20 years that we've gone to war with suspiciously didn't have the same centralized banking that we have. I wonder why we went to war with them. Moving on up to 2002 as well, Foolish, single released by Ashanti, Billboard Song of the Year 2002.
And 1 year later, 2003, Sadie Clark was cleared of murdering her 2 sons after more than 3 years in prison in what was a life sentence.
Man, I hope she didn't offer children. That'd be horrible. But, yeah. 2 years after that, in 2005, the first direct commercial flights from China, specifically from Guangzhou to Taiwan since 1949, arrived in Taipei, the capital of Taiwan, I believe. Shortly afterwards, China's Airlines carrier flight landed in Beijing. So,
Damn.
yep.
Ooh, me. All me.
Yes.
Me. 1 year later, 2006, U.S. Postal Service released 39-cent stamp featuring Hattie McDaniel in the dress she wore in the 1940s when she became the first black U.S. actress to accept an Academy Award.
Nice.
Yeah, and guess what? They took that off HBO Max, that fucking movie.
Wow. Of course
It's
they
a movie
did.
with, I think it's a movie with Clark Gable.
I'm going to have to look at that. There's so much things I need to watch and
Gone,
read. And
Gone with the Wind. It's Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind? I think I've seen that.
Yeah, they pretty much took it off. Cause
Wow.
there was no fucking thing. Like doing that, they took off a show with the first black actress who won a Academy Award.
Maybe that's why they took it off, because, the powers that be championing segregation while segregating harder than we ever had. So, moving on up to 2009, Rod Blagojevich, governor of Illinois, was removed from office after being convicted of corruption charges, including the alleged solicitation of personal benefit in exchange for an appointment to the United States Senate as a replacement for then U.S. President-elect Barack Obama. I remember that. I remember they were talking about, auctioning off his seat or something like that. And there was a whole uproar,
Yeah.
So. But what else happened in 2009?
Also in 2009, the Supreme Constitutional Court of Egypt ruled that people who do not adhere to one of the three government's recognized religions, while not allowed to list any beliefs outside of those three, are still eligible to receive government identity documents.
Oh,
Wow.
gee, how nice of them. Well, at least they're
Damn.
doing something, you know.
Yeah.
3 years later, in the year 2012, American snowboarder Shaun White achieved the first ever Super Pipe Perfect score of 100 in Winter X Games history.
That is interesting.
What is a Super
Even though
Pipe?
I don't know even oh, it's like this big ass pipe.
Oh, that thing.
It's like it's like a half pipe for skateboarding, but longer.
Yeah, for snowboarders. Yeah, no, like I assumed this was what it was because like I've played like tycoon games where you build like ski resorts and such. I just never knew the actual name of this, so that makes
So I'm
sense.
like I think it's skateboarder now. He's not even a snowboarder anymore.
Ah, but what happened 2 years
And
later?
oh, 2 years later, in 2014, archaeologists discovered the oldest Roman temple, 6C BC, at Saint O- Omobono. Omobono.
Mobono. Yeah, 6th century BC. So 600 years before Christ, the oldest Roman temple, I believe.
Damn.
Also in 2014, scientists discovered how to convert normal cells into stem cells in mice. And I think
Pretty
that's
much for cloning.
yeah. Well, also like isn't that around the same time where they had the ear, or was that earlier in the
Yep.
2000s?
No, man, I think that's it. When you're trying to, make limbs off of them,
Yeah,
extra limbs.
yeah. remember South Park with Mr. Garrison?
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that. And also, don't forget, fucking Kyle's dad became a dolphin,
Yes.
and Kyle became a black kid.
Yes. Dude, it's really scary, but like that episode pretty much like perfectly describes today's world. It's like I identify as a
Hmm.
dolphin. I'm trans dolphin. Give me surgery to make me a dolphin. Do you not have dolphin friendly bathrooms? How dare you? I'm going to sue you. What? you know? And instead of
I
dolphins, it's
identify as a
helicopters.
retard.
What?
I identify as a retard.
So do I. But what else happened in 2014?
Also in 2014, the Bohuslav Sobotka became Prime Minister of the Czech Republic.
Nice. Also in 2014, Cristiano Ronaldo became the first non-Spanish player to captain Real Madrid, making his 500th appearance for the club. Cool.
Yep. Everybody knows who he is. Well, everybody knows who plays football knows who he is.
Yes. We have one more 2014 for you.
Also in 2014, the Rojava conflict, the Arafin Cantor described its autonomy from the Syrian Arab Republic.
And the Afrin Canton declared its autonomy from the Syrian Arab Republic, which means they're
Damn.
independent, or they're declaring their
Yep.
independence. Moving on up to the year 2015, Malaysia officially declared the disappearance of missing flight MH370 an accident. I don't know why it took so
Wow.
long to figure that out, but okay.
Yep.
We have several 2017s. Oh, a lot of 2018s, a lot of 2019s. Holy crap, dude. So much.
I'll do this one. In the first one.
Alright.
And 2 years later, 2017, an attack on a mosque in Saint Thioy, Quebec, murdered 6 and injured 19. The shooter was French Canadian student Alexander Bissonnette.
Dang, Jaquois.
Sequoia Light.
Jaquois lights. Yeah. Diet Jaquois. With maple flavor. Also in 2017, the 67th NHL All-Star Games, Staples Center, Los Angeles, California. Metropolitan All-Stars won 4-team 3-on-3 tournament MVP being Wayne Simmons. Philadelphia Flyers, uh, right wingman.
Yep, white ring. Correct.
Okay. Oh,
Uh, Also in 2017, NFL Pro Bowl, Orlando, Florida. AFC beats NFC 20-13. MVPs, Travis Kelce, Kansas City Chiefs. Tight end, Lorenzo Alexander, Buffalo Bills. Linebacker.
hmm. Moving on up to 2018, FBI Director Andrew G. McCabe stepped down from office.
I wish Loretta Lynch would just get the fuck off, too.
Yeah, with time, good things
Yeah.
come to those who wait. So,
Also in 2018, Cleveland Indians announced they would remove Chief Wahoo from their uniforms 2019.
yeah. And that was when, once again, bringing up South Park again. Man, South Park is really on my mind tonight. Yeah, when they took over and they had the logo change, that was
the Washington
hilarious.
Redskins.
Yeah,
Washington Redskins, go fuck yourself.
yeah. Also in 2018, the Marvel film Black Panther, directed by Ryan Coogler and starring Chadwick Boseman, premiered in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's been 4 years since the Black Panther movie.
Yeah,
Everybody was hoping. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be too woke." No, it was fucking great.
I have to see it. But I've distanced myself from everything Marvel, everything Disney. You know, after seeing what they've done to Star
Yeah.
Wars, I just am not interested.
And to make it worse, while you're filming it, he was dying.
Oh shit.
Yeah, man, he was dying of cancer during the time during
Oh
those
man.
times.
So Disney forced him to work while dying of cancer?
No, I think he did it because
Oh,
he didn't want to displease his fans.
well, then that's on him. So, but that is
Hey,
that is honorable.
I must say, the woman who played McGonagall in Harry Potter did the same thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I never was really a fan of that either, but that's cool. I mean, whatever floats your boat. You know.
I know.
I mean, I'd sooner I'd rather them try to battle it out, survive, than to push themselves to make a movie for my personal enjoyment. But that's just me,
Yeah.
you know. What else happened in 2018?
Also in 2018, Toronto police arrest landscaper Bruce McArthur for murder after remains of at least 5 people were found in potted plants.
Wow,
Wow.
that's brutal.
He should have done. He should have put them in endangered plants.
Yeah, yeah. Like we saw a meme. Like always plant an endangered plant over something
body.
you bury, because it'll be illegal to dig it up. There you go. My criminal tip of the day. Moving on up to 2019, Toronto landscaper Bruce McArthur admitted in court to the murder of 8 homosexual males. That's
God damn.
ruthless.
Yeah, that's him. That's him.
What?
Yep, that was the guy who got caught. This time he admitted of doing it.
Oh.
He admitted killing 2 others.
Oh, it's the same guy. Wow, I didn't even realize that. Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow, I was not paying attention when I was editing this. Jeez.
Oh god. No,
That's such a
okay.
tie-in. That's a tie-in. So.
Oh god.
But you want to
I'm
take
ready
the
for-
next 2019 here?
I will. Also in 2019, Empire star Jose Smollett suffers suspected racial and homophobic attacks in Chicago, later to be determined to be self-perpetuated hoax, which it was.
Oh, here we go again. Well, actually,
No,
no, that's 2019, so Yeah,
Yeah, the
these
thing I
woke,
like,
these woke
the thing,
SJWs, like they're so
yeah,
determined at making sure that the world is what they say it is that they do things themselves just to put
but
guilt on other people that didn't even
the,
exist. You know,
hey, the funny thing is what Chappelle said.
alphabet people. Yeah,
No, it's like no, it's like the LGBT was mad at the black community because the black community wasn't getting on the uproar.
huh.
But the black community was doing it in silence. Was no, they were in silence because he knew that he was clearly lying.
Yeah,
No, I'm about to find that and send it to our group so you can see it.
do it.
Because I started laughing when he said that shit.
Also in 2019, in the aftermath to a wild ending to UFC 229, Khabib Nurmagomedov 500,000 in 9 months, and Conor McGregor 50,000 in 6 months were issued fines and suspensions, bans retroactive to October 6, 2018. I,
Oh my god, that fight, man.
I had no idea.
Khabib was Khabib was trying to kill that man.
Jeez.
Yo, the way he had him in that choco, oh my god, poor McGregor had it on himself though. He kept on insulting this man, making fun of his religion, went on the bus talking shit, and the guy had enough.
Yeah, it takes two to tango, it takes one to start, but,
Yep,
you know. Why don't you take this next 2019?
I will. Also in 2019, Tehran, Iran bans dogs walking in public and driving with dogs.
Honestly, I agree on the second part because you have a wild animal in there running around, barking and shit.
Yeah,
You don't need that while driving, especially if you one of those little ones that just keeps running around. I see so many people there, like, driving with like dogs on their laps and everything. It's like, dude, that's such a danger. You love
that
your
is
dog.
danger for you and him.
You love your dog. That
Yeah,
is fine and good. Leave it at home.
imagine when your
You know.
dog, imagine if you get to let's say you get rear-ended, or your dog being pushed to a fucking windshield, or it's being pushed to the fucking steering wheel.
Oh my god, I'm just
No,
imagining. I just imagine
I-
a car getting rear-ended and just seeing a dog fly out through the windshield.
or being smashed by the steering wheel. It's not cool.
that's an awful image. Um,
That's another comment. I think people who put the stones on their
on their
steering wheel.
dashboards, yeah. Have you seen that picture I
On
have
a
of like the person who bedazzled their steering wheel?
Yeah, congratulations, you fucking created a plane.
Yeah, you turn your airbag into a claymore. Also in 2019, an approaching polar vortex prompted a state of emergency to be declared in Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Alabama, and Mississippi. Dang.
Yeah.
From
Wait, a
Wisconsin all the
polar
way to
vortex.
Alabama. That's insane.
You mean a geomagnetic storm?
The polar vortex in 2019 that you guys had. Whatever that
Oh,
was. I remember that.
I don't even know what it was.
Hmm.
I don't even know what it was, but I wasn't even scared.
But also, due to that, the U.S. Postal Service suspended deliveries to 10 states due to the severity of that polar vortex. So, once
Hmm.
again, I'm slacking. I forgot to put in my tie-in there.
That's okay.
Yeah. Well, why don't you take this last 2019?
Or and also in 2019, the Norwegian government postponed building a floating road tunnel as part of a new roadway between Kristiansand and Trondheim.
Yeah, Trondheim.
Trondheim.
Yeah.
Time.
Let's see here. Let me see if I can find a picture of that. Loading. Yeah, this is what they're proposing. It's like a negative bridge. So instead of a bridge, you have a tunnel that's just suspended in the water with buoyancy. So do you see that?
That looks
And it has anchors.
trippy.
It does. Um, what makes me concerned though is that you know, what happens
What
if
would it do
there's
when it
ever
fails?
any submarine warfare in that area? And look at that.
Yeah,
Like, it's on top of the water and it goes under the water and tunnels through this mountain here. That's really crazy what you can do with roads. Although I don't know why they don't just build a road through this pass right here, but whatever. Anyway, moving on up to the year 2020. Finally, we're 2 years ago. The number of COVID-19 cases passed those of SARS, with over 7,700 cases in China confirmed, with 170 deaths. Now, there's so many things wrong with that number. I don't even want to get into it. I want to just finish this show because I want to go and get my stuff. So,
yeah, and I want you to get your stuff.
yeah. What else
So
happened?
moving on to 2020, the Kung Flu pandemic. The Trump administration establishes the White House Coronavirus Task Force under Secretary of Health and Human Services, Alex Azar.
Nice.
And in 2021, Johnson & Johnson's Janssen single-dose vaccine showed to be 66 effective in trials, with complete protection against hospitalization and death.
Yeah, we saw how BS that was. You know.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
That's why I'm starting to not laugh. Also, in 2021, Novavax vaccine showed 89% efficiency in UK trials, including against UK variant.
Yeah, 89% in my rear end. I'll get this last one here. Last but not least, also in the year 2021, proposal to prevent feminization of male adolescents, published by China's Education Ministry, asks schools to use sports to cultivate masculinity. Well, China is finally getting something right.
Like, hey, no, you play football, but you play football. Smack.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's get into births and deaths. We have Didius Julianus, 133. He was a Roman emperor. Katharina von Bora, 1499, wife of Martin Luther and former Roman Catholic nun. Franciscus Junius, 1591, pioneer of Germanic philology. Emanuel Swedenborg, 1688, Swedish astronomer, philosopher, and theologian. Geoffrey Amherst, 1st Baron Amherst, 1717, English field marshal and politician, 19th Governor General of Canada. Thomas Paine, 1737, prominent for publishing Common Sense in 1776, which established him as one of the founding fathers of the United States of America. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Thomas Paine. Moses Cleveland, 1754, American general, lawyer, and politician, founded Cleveland, Ohio. Mary Whitewell Hale, 1810, U.S. teacher, school founder, and hymn writer. William McKinley, 1843, U.S. soldier, lawyer, and politician, 25th President of the United States. We also have Florida Ruffian Ridley, 1861, a U.S. civil rights activist, teacher, editor, and writer. We have John D. Rockefeller Jr., born today in 1874, a U.S. businessman and philanthropist. We have Ernst Lubitsch, 1892, a German U.S. film director, producer, writer, and actor. Alan B. Dumont, 1901, U.S. engineer and broadcaster, founded the Dumont Television Network. Hassan Habibi, 1937, Indian lawyer and politician, first vice president of Iran. That's interesting.
You got a number down?
We also have Oprah Winfrey in 1954, a U.S. talk show host, actress, and producer, founded Harpo Productions. Now, I have a question for you, Sohen.
Yeah.
So you know about the Oprah Winfrey Network?
Yes, I know what the... Okay, OWN.
Yeah. Now, not to sound prejudiced or anything, but isn't it a little weird for a black person to have a TV station called OWN?
Kind of ironic.
Yeah. You think she'd choose better call letters.
Yeah.
A little bit of a self-identity there. But anyway, we have Nicholas Turturro in 1962, a U.S. actor, director, producer, and screenwriter. And last but not least, born today in 1970, we have Muhammad Yusuf, Nigerian Islamist leader, founded Boko Haram. That sounds very familiar.
It is a terrorist organization in Nigeria with beheading people.
That's why it sounds familiar.
Terror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was born today, unfortunately.
His mom should have took it up the ass.
Well, too bad his mom wasn't a goat. But anyway, let's get into deaths here. Who do we got? Who died today?
In 661, we have Ali, cousin and son-in-law of Muhammad.
Hmm.
Okay. Also, in 1608, we have Frederick I, Duke of Württemberg. Also, we have in 1737, George Hamilton, first Earl of Orkney, Scottish English Field Marshal and politician, colonial governor of Virginia. Wow.
Nice.
In 1820, we have George III of the United Kingdom.
I wonder, was that the King George III?
I'm guessing it's King George III.
Yeah, former king. So,
Damn.
Yep.
Rest in peace. Also, in 1829, we have Paul Francis Jean Nicolas Boel Comte de Bars, French captain and politician.
Hmm.
Also, in 1928, we have Douglas Haig, first Earl Haig, Scottish Field Marshal. And in 1931, we have Henry Matthias Bernadotte, French general during World War One. Funny, yeah. Henry could be spelled with an I-R-Y,
Yeah.
but the French one is pronounced Henry.
Hmm. That was
Yep.
chili
Also-
pause.
Wait a minute. I think you made a mistake. Oh no, never mind. Freddie Prinze, 1977, U.S. comedian actor.
Yeah, no, not Freddie Prinze Jr., the original. Freddie Prinze.
Freddie. Okay.
The Freddie Prinze.
Man, I'll say that man's alive.
No.
No, this is that.
Nope.
Alright.
Yep, unfortunately. But anyway, that concludes the show. Thank you so much for putting up with me being alone for most of it. For all of you and all of us, I am Xander.
And I'm late for dinner. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I was late though.
But yeah, don't forget to check us out every day at 5 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time, which is 8 o'clock Eastern, or 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock rock around the clock tonight. Don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 stones, and subscribe until you see us tomorrow. Toodles! Let's go, Brandon.
Toodles!